Whoa, sorry.
Whoa, nope, you're good.
Don't do that.
It's like, whoa, what's going on here?
My fault.
No, you're good. All right, I sent the tweet out. All right, we are all good to go. Where do you want to start? You just want to start tackling the Kyle Busch situation here and then go from there?
Yeah, so there's 2 builds, I suppose. Well, there might be 3 builds. So the first obvious build, you're going to use Kyle Busch. The second build would be the no Kyle Busch, and you're leaning towards Zane Smith, Austin Hill.
Mm-hmm.
You with me so far?
I'm with you.
And then I don't know what the third build is. I thought earlier I had a third build off the top of my head. I don't know. That's just, I'm sure we'll come to something, but if I had to choose right now, I would go Kyle Busch. I've warmed a lot more to Kyle Busch. Someone emailed me like, hey, Kyle Busch did have to start at the very back of the field at Homestead for failing inspection. Like, oh, well, that's interesting because this is the deepest he's ever started. And he got to the front. Now, some of the good cars had damage, but he still got to the front and he raced really well. I don't know, like you look at Atlanta and Charlotte, he didn't score a lot of points, but he's racing against a superstar Elliott. There isn't a superstar car that's going to poach points from him, so I'm a lot more warm to Busch. I'm leaning that direction. Where are you going?
So I'm going to start this with what I have Kyle Busch projected at. I have him projected for 98.5 points, which is the most out of anybody in my.
I got him at 113. I went higher.
Okay, so I'm low on his lap. Like I'm giving him 40 laps led and 30 fast laps.
Bring it here, buddy. Sorry.
No, you're good. So I'm only giving him 40 laps led, 30 fast laps. And
wait. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I've got 40 hog points.
No, you're good. I entered the week being like, okay, I'm going to play nothing but Kyle Busch. I'm ready to get Kyle Busch in all my lineups. And then I put in my optimizer and it did not want to put in Kyle Busch. Like I had to make it go out of its way to put Kyle Busch in lineups. It was wanting as much Austin Hill, as much Zane Smith as it could get. And it was pushing.
How high do you get them pumped up? I had a couple times my optimizer said no. Well, actually, you just don't have enough points for. Yeah,
I don't think I have enough points.
90's not even close enough. If I take him down to 105, it will. But that's also saying, I know I'm cutting you off here, but
no, you're good.
That's also factoring in a ceiling day from those 2 guys. Right?
Yeah. I think. I mean, I still have Kyle projected as the highest. I'm not even purposely being conservative on his fast laps and laps led. He just wasn't popping off in lineups. So I have 14 lineups made right now. I don't think I'm going to make any more. I'm pretty much where I want to be. And I have lineups with Kyle Busch. I'm about 50-50 right now. It shocked me that I didn't get as much Kyle Busch initially as I thought I would.
Well, it's just that. So you're maxing out Hill and you're maxing out Smith, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I have both of them like 6, 5th place.
But I mean, but still, they're getting a lot of points, and I get that it's easier for them to max out than it is for Kyle Busch to max out. But my point is, you're maxing them out, and you're not even really hesitating, but you're refusing to max out Kyle Busch.
I don't think he leads more than what we have.
You don't think so?
I don't.
So play me through stage 1. What happens in stage 1? I don't think he leads anything in that.
Yeah, I think Creed leads all of stage 1 if it goes green. And then if he pits there, I don't think we see Kyle fighting for the lead until stage 3. And if that's the case, I think we have to bring down his projection there.
I think that I think he gets up there stage 2. Now, I guess we're just kind of debating on, is he going to pit a bunch? If he pits a bunch like we saw in last year's Charlotte race, then yeah, it's going to be tough because he's only got stage 3. But even if we split it up, we've got give or take 40 hog points stage 1, 40 hog points in stage 3. You don't think that he's going to be the guy in stage 3?
I don't think so. I don't
think so. You think Sheldon? I mean, I know Sheldon Creed's good. But Sheldon Creed still look at I know the Daytona Road Course doesn't really matter that much, but he couldn't get by Ben Rhodes. He should have passed Ben Rhodes. He was unable to pass Ben Rhodes in that race.
I think it's more the case that I think we're going to have Austin Hill play a bigger factor than what I initially thought. and having Creed, Hill, and Kyle fight for that lead towards the end of the race, I think that hurts Kyle more.
All right, I'm gonna have to take a two.
No,
you
good.
roll while I figure this
good.
out. The people know what's going on. Hold on. Sorry. Now I can hear you if you talk.
No, you're good.
It's being disrespectful for me to not completely pay attention. So
no, you're good.
Roll, I will chime in.
All right.
Sorry.
At least that's my point of view. So I'm playing a lot of Austin Hill, Zane Smith, and let's talk about Parker Kligerman whenever Pearce gets back.
Parker Kligerman, you go ahead though.
He's not on the park. I'm perfectly on the Parker Kligerman bandwagon because he fit in the lineup so easily, and I'm not even projecting him to do wild and crazy things. What do I have him at? I think he's 10th, 9th, 8th place, certainly with the whole Camping World story. I think if you're looking at the incentives for top 5 and for win, I mean, it's Kligerman, Lessard, and Creed, the only guys who are going to get the incentives. And if I can get Parker Kligerman actually racing to, brute force his way into the top 10, top 5, I'm going to be all over Parker Kligerman. Let me see. I have him in. Let's see how many lineups I have Kligerman in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have him at roughly half of my lineups right now. So if I'm not playing Kyle Busch, I'm playing a lot of Kligerman, a lot of Austin Hill, Zane Smith, and going with that type of build.
I have no fault with Austin Hill, Zane Smith, but they've got a ton of upside. And Kligerman's not that much cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, praise be. All right, I'm back.
No, you're good. I know you got a lot going on over there.
Look, I'm telling you, this might not be the last time. I apologize to the people out there, but all right. So, geez, I hate to rewind all this, but I think to sum all that, I think you're being a little too tough on Kyle Busch. Even if he pits, I think stage 2, he's still in the factor. Is that too loud in the background, folks?
No, you're fine.
It's too loud for me. I don't get the Kligerman thing. So let's look at Kligerman's projection right here. I got him a lot lower. I got him at 15th. But I mean, what makes you think that he can get to 8th? And please don't tell me it's because Lemonis is going to give him a bunch of money. He finished 4th at a Bristol race. I don't care about Bristol. That's not even the same thing. I finished 8th at the Daytona Road Course last year. Doesn't matter. 9th at Michigan last year. That thing was a wreck fest, an absolute wreck fest. Mm-hmm. The best cars wrecked out. The best cars had issues, and Kligerman still only managed a 9th place race. 15th at Pocono, 18th at Kentucky. Why do we think he can do any better than 15th?
He got damage in the Kansas race. Late in that Kansas race, he was right outside the top 10. He was 11th, 10th, 9th. Then we had some late race stuff happen. He got damaged and finished 18th. Let's look at the pack of cars that he's going to pass. He's going to pass at least 20 cars. He can fight for that top 10. I have no issue looking at him getting the top 10.
I have a huge issue with that. Look, Kyle Busch top 10, Austin Hill top 10, Sheldon Creed top 10, John Hunter Nemechek top 10, Matt Crafton top 10, Zane Smith top 10, Ben Rhodes top 10, Chandler Smith top 10, Brett Moffitt top 10, Stuart Friesen top 10. That's 10 drivers right there. He's not beating those guys. And I've got a list more that it's not going to be easy for him to beat Eckes in a Thorsport truck. Gilliland, Ankrum, Kraus, Sauter, Lessard. Maybe he gets past Enfinger. That's fine. In the Tanner Gray. Who do you think finishes better, Gray or Kligerman?
I think it's Kligerman.
I don't think so.
I think they're both neck and neck.
But, okay, that's fair. For 15th.
Yeah. No Kligerman. See, Caleb's
I have
on
no
high.
Kligerman love. I don't. Again, he was optimal when his price was way too low, and then he was optimal at Michigan race. It's a wreck fest at Michigan. He's fine in cash, but I don't think he's going to be the way to the GPP. I would rather go. Obviously, you'd rather go Zane Smith, Austin Hill, and I'd rather get to Kyle Busch the other way. That's where I stand. I don't think you're crazy, but I think it's not the right play.
Let's talk about the builds that you end up with when you're playing the high guys, like the Kyle Busches, the Hill, the guys we just talked about. Maybe that's why I'm so high on Kligerman, because I'm able to get different builds I think that's maybe why I'm so high on Kligerman is because I'm not being force fed the the chalky plays that everybody is going to. So say if you're paying up, I imagine Tanner Gray, Connor Daly. Let's see, who else do I have listed here?
Yeah, if you go with, you want to start with the Kyle Busch problem with rostering him first before we tackle
let's get into
So when you roster Kyle Busch, and you're probably going to try to get Austin Hill or Zane Smith, I would imagine. I can't imagine you're not doing that. I think, or actually, you might not be able to. No, my last optimizer run, which you guys can all see at racefortheprize.com, it took Kyle Busch, it got Zane Smith, and it went away from Creed because I've dialed Creed down. I started higher on Creed, lower on Busch, and I've kind of switched. Now, I might switch by 9 o'clock. You guys know how that rolls. But right now, I've went more Busch, less Creed. So Creed's been bumped out. It's got Zane Smith in, which I'm fine. I think that's probably the better play in cash. Might be a better play in GPPs. And then it takes Purdy. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with Truex. There's 6,000 guys. There's plenty of options. The problem you run into, this lineup actually avoids all the terrible. So except for Hosever. You're gonna, that's the problem when you're taking Kyle Busch, and even if you try to get Austin Hill and Zane Smith, you kind of run in that same situation, which you're avoiding with Kligerman. But if you go with Busch, if you go with those top tier guys, you then have to kind of dance with these 5 guys. Which, when I think about it, I don't know. I mean, I can't do Benning, you can't do Cobb. You may be able to go Woozy. It would just be kind of one like, all right, you throw it into a lineup. Maybe you can talk yourself into Austin Wayne Self and Carson Hosever. The stats aren't bad last year for Austin Wayne Self. He can finish 17th in this field. That's not much of a stretch. He needs some breaks to go his way, but he's definitely capable of it, even in a strong field. And he doesn't absolutely kill you. It's just 4.2, but we've seen this before with Kyle Busch lineups of these expensive guys in the back, kind of. Not really that case, but we know what it's like to pay too much for people and get inefficient big point totals in the Truck Series, and then you end up with a bum. We've seen Cicerelli be popular or in the optimal lineup. I don't know if Benning ever got in it. I think Cobb got in it a couple times in 2019. So we can possibly deal with these really ugly days from them, as long as Busch goes off or Zane Smith, and it's not comfortable to do. But I don't know. It feels like those Xfinity guys that we get in the teens that we had last year. We had to roster Jesse Little at 14th or BJ McLeod at 15th. It's the same thing. But guess what? BJ McLeod ended up being optimal in that Darlington race with Kyle Busch. So
if I'm playing Kyle Busch and I'm maxing out salary, I'm playing Jesse Woozy. Like he's so bad he's good. And there's times like I don't think he starts in Parks this race. And I think
no one is starting in parking, I don't think.
No, let me change that. I don't think his truck fails him. And we've seen in the past.
Do you think he fails himself? I mean, this is the guy that was the moving chicane at Charlotte.
He's moving.
Remember that?
He's going to be lapped.
Does he have mirrors? No, I guess he doesn't have mirrors.
He doesn't have a brain. That's the issue. But
no, don't say that. He's a nice guy. I like him on NBC Sports. He's a veteran. Let's not say anything bad. He just doesn't have enough experience.
He doesn't have racecraft. Let's say.
Well, and he's only raced poor equipment too. It's hard to get better when you're just running junk. Anyway, enough about that. But it's just a straight, pure, ugly punt, which we've said didn't work last year at all. But we've never had Kyle Busch starting in 29. And Kyle Busch is underpriced. What are we doing? He should be $17,000. This is a discount. Why aren't we jumping on this? Someone mentioned that in the chat, I think.
This is true. Oh, I wasn't
got a Pokemon question. I guess Phil's around.
Well, Phil's in here too. Man, I'm looking at the banners. Good Lord, I'm missing everything. So the Jesse Woozy seems to me, I don't know about you, he seems to be the best punt, in my opinion. If you're punting that far.
So I got Woozy getting 16. I got Austin Wayne Self and Hosever legitimately scoring 21 raw points. I would probably end up with more of these guys than Woozy. It's scary, it's dangerous, but it's a GPP. So I would much rather go this route.
I don't think people are going to have enough money for that. I don't think
people are going to. Austin Wayne Self and Hosever?
Yeah, because
you can build it. I've got it right here with Kyle Busch and Hosever, and you can adjust it around. Like if you want to downgrade from Chase Purdy, you can downgrade from Chase Purdy down to. I'm not crazy about Jordan Anderson. He's there.
Mhm.
But I'd rather go with Haley Deegan. There you go. You save yourself $200. Maybe you can find yourself something better on the bottom end. You've already got Truex in there. I don't think I really want to roll around with Boyd, Roper. You want to go Holmes, maybe. I don't. I think it's going to be hard for him to pass on these trucks.
Let me see. We got a question about BJ versus Awuji. So first and foremost, I have ownership to Holmes, McLeod, Awuji, Daly in that price range. So I'm playing all of them, and I tend to have my ownership spread out between them. The only reason I brought up Awuji so much is because I think if you're playing Awuji, you're maxed out and like you're forced to go to him at that.
Yeah, no, he's the only option.
Yeah, so that's why I was saying I don't think the builds work. Yeah, so that's why I just think we're going to see not a lot of Awuji, but if you're playing him, it's because of that. I would much rather go different places. But if you're doing that type of build, that's why I think you get there. Let's talk about the chalk between Deegan.
Wait, you're going to answer. Didn't they have a question about BJ McLeod that you wanted to answer?
Yes. See, man, I'm all over the place.
I would say, well, it's my fault for having this thing kind of.
No,
I'm not on BJ McLeod. I think that he is only in the truck because he's going to be there this weekend, and so he gets to run this truck race, and he'll turn around the back. He might park at some point, but I don't expect anything from him. He's
in the better of the Reum brothers cars. He's
Camping World.
all the Camping World stuff. But yeah, he's in the better of the two trucks. And looking at how like the 00 finished last year, like this car can get 22nd, not needing.
No, it can't.
A lot of yes, it can. It can get. Oh, I mean, as like a ceiling, I think he finishes around 27. No, what really?
No, I mean, just look. I mean, how many cars he's in? It's a 40-car field. So a lot of times we say, "Oh, this guy can get to 22nd." That was out of 32 cars or whatever. It's a 40-car field. He is not going to be better than almost half of the field.
I'm giving him 30th. I'm giving him 30th. Like, come on,
that's still pretty aggressive.
I don't like his price though. But that I think between Awuji and McLeod, Awuji's probably the better DFS play. I think McLeod gets a better race finish in general. Let's see.
They're both going to need wrecks and failures. Could happen. Mm-hmm. It also could be a lap turner, and these guys are going to be 5 laps down in stage 1.
Are you putting any weight into the Camping World situation at all? Like, do you care at all?
Other than I'm not going to be able to pay attention to what the cars are. It's going to feel like the first race I've ever watched because I'm not going to know any of the numbers. I'm not going to know, so. No, I don't care about the money. Like, you're not going to know who, and it's going to be, which I'm excited about Las Vegas. It's one of my favorite races, and now it's kind of ruined. And people are like, "Oh, you're just probably being down and negative." You'll see when you're watching this race, and it's 10 blue cars, and you don't know who anyone is. Mm-hmm. It's going to ruin it. I don't think Marcos Lemonis realizes what he's done. It's a publicity stunt. It was cool on Twitter. But Twitter is not NASCAR. Twitter is not NASCAR fans. And when NASCAR fans turn it on and watch, they're going to be pretty disgusted. They're going to say, what am I watching? I just see it. I don't know who anyone is. What is the point of this?
Well, they all have different paint schemes. You should be able to tell from the Fox camera angle.
Well, it's like when I was a kid, you didn't really know much about sports. Mm-hmm. And what didn't fall like a diehard. Mm-hmm. They didn't have jerseys. They didn't have names on a lot of the jerseys. And I didn't know who anyone was, and I kind of annoyed. I wanted to know who people were, but I didn't know the numbers. I didn't have the numbers memorized like an adults do. Mm-hmm. So it was really a terrible experience. It's going to be the same thing. You're not going to know who anyone is. The paint schemes aren't different enough. All right, that's enough of that rant. People want picks. So no, I'm not like the 5,000 bonus. It barely pays for tires. It's barely paying for the trip out west to stay in the hotels and all that stuff. It's nothing. $15,000. Come on.
Well, wait, that's not. I'm talking about the top 10 incentive, the top 5 incentive.
What's another $15,000 on top of that? It's not really that much. It's not worth wrecking the one truck you have. Mm-hmm. And these trucks can't get in the top 10 anyway.
What do you think about Brett Holmes? Do you want me to go first or you go first?
Go ahead.
Okay. I am very high on Brett Holmes. I'm not really sure why, or I think he has the equipment behind him that'll work. If you look back at his history when he was running his dirt late model, He was the fastest dirt late model, best money could buy in the ARCA series, best equipment money can buy. I don't see this not being the best truck that they can buy, and I think it's a GMS truck. I could be wrong, but from what
I looked all over, I couldn't find any information on that.
I think it's a GMS truck. That's me.
It's got to be a top tier Chevy, so it won't be from Kyle Busch, and it won't be from ThorSport, and it won't be from Gilliland. So if he buys a top tier Chevy, who else is he going to buy it from?
Yeah, so that's what I'm getting it from. So I think Brett Holmes can get 16th, 17th. It should be very similar to how Hailie Deegan raced in her first race, to where, inside the top 20 is what you expect. At that point, his price is way too low, and I have way too much ownership for him for my own good.
So I was with you early in the week. I still am. I wrote about it on the Patreon that I'm kind of forced to do. I like everything talent-wise, equipment-wise, but it's all relative to the field. And yes, he's a good truck driver or a good ARCA driver, but he doesn't have any experience. His crew chief has some experience, did part-time work. He should be fine. But again, you have to compare that to drivers that have been in the truck series for years. Trucks that have been in the truck series for years, crew chiefs and teams that have been in the truck series for years. The guy has never done a green flag pit stop, right? I mean, he doesn't know what he's doing. So live pit stops are going to be a whole new thing. Not that that's the biggest factor that worries me, but again, let's sort this by rank where I think they're going to finish. I've got him at 28th. He's got and so if I just sort it right here, column wise, he's in the 36th column. That means there's 36 drivers ahead of him. Well, just to get to 28th, he's got to pass 8 of these guys. Do you think he's better than Fogelman?
Yeah, he has to.
Fogelman has a very similar situation in ARCA. Very similar situations, and all these guys do, really. They were all decent in ARCA. They all had decent equipment in ARCA. Now they're all in decent equipment. At least Fogelman has experience. I think he probably gets past Peters. We'll see what he does with Tyler Hill. You never know with Corey Roper. You never know with Jordan Anderson. Maybe he beats Spencer Boyd. But to get all the way up to just to 28th, you think he beats Deegan?
I think they run very similar. I think he's a spitting image of Deegan, in my opinion.
And I know she ran well in that race. I don't have it on here, obviously, but I would be. I guess I could sort it, and I'm not going to mess with that. I just think this is a strong field. I have worries about the first time a truck ever runs, and it's for me, it's just 100% the competition. And at the beginning of the week, it looked like he would be cheap, and then you look at this other stuff. I don't know if he's cheap enough, really.
Really, I don't know. I mean, I guess.
So you can consider him if you're going your Kligerman route.
Up, Daddy.
You gotta sit down, okay? Okay. Worst father ever. So if you go the Kligerman route, yeah. But if you go Kyle Busch, you can't. It's hard to fit him in unless you're going with 2 ugly punts. And I don't know if he's an ugly punt, but if you go the Kyle Busch route and you play Brett Holmes, you also have to play one of these junkers too. I really don't want to do that.
Let's see.
And if you go the top tier guys like Smith value-wise, Smith and Hill, you're going to end up having – I don't think Brett Holmes is cheap enough that he's your only punt.
Let me go ahead and put it in context with the guys that I like the most. And I mentioned this in my videos. I think Hailie Deegan is underpriced and is a great value no matter what type of lineup you're working with. I personally think Brett Holmes has a ton of upside, and I'm overweight on him. I also have quite a bit of Tyler Hill sprinkled in here and there, just trying to get there. Like if I'm playing a chalky Kyle Busch lineup,
I don't get it.
I really
no, I don't get it.
Oh man, we're at different.
So what is it? What is it that Tyler Hill has done? Are we overreacting to a Daytona road course race?
No, I mean we've seen, and the races haven't had to get crazy. We've just seen, late race restarts to where Timmy Hill, who I think is very similar, and he's going to be helping out Tyler here.
No, they're not the same.
Yeah, I think they
He's
are.
got some good finish with Texas, Kansas, and Las Vegas last year.
Mhm.
I don't believe those are strong fields. By that time of the season, let me see. What was his lap by lap last year at Las Vegas?
Not this again, Gary. No.
What we got? I don't care. Go ahead. Tell me about Tyler Hill.
No, I don't have anything else to.
Well, the thing is, what do you have to say about Tyler Hill?
I mean, I don't have much to say other than looking at how him and his brother have ran this car. We saw improvement on the second half of last year, and they only had 2 cars last year. They only had 2 trucks for the entire season, and you saw how well they ran. Most teams with 2 trucks would just run the back like Jennifer Joe Cobb. This car is there to not be a lap down, and now they got, I think, 5 or 6 trucks this year. I mean, I think this is a 19th, 8th place type of truck, and if we get a late race yellow, which I think Tyler Hill, Jordan Anderson would probably be the 2 teams that I would actually consider playing purely for the Camping World incentive, because I think they could actually get a top 10 on a late race restart.
I'm with you, and I'm warming up a little bit to, maybe he can get on the other side of the top 20. I'm going to go 20th. But a top 10? Look at this field.
He ain't going to race up there. Do you think we see more crashes between the Camping World trucks, like the sponsor trucks trying to do something stupid at the end of this race?
I don't know. Well, do you think there's going to be a lot of cautions in this race?
I think we have a lot of cautions, and not a lot, maybe 3 in stage 3. First 2 stages should be clean. It should be just the stage yellow, or just the stage cautions.
Yeah, I would say without practice, what we ought to really do at some point is, because 2019, I'm remembering these wrecks at the beginning of races, but they had practice. They were probably a little bit more aggressive. Mm-hmm. But then I think of last year, and I would really like to know how many times did they wreck in stage 1? I'm not really thinking of a lot of times where these drivers were really aggressive out the gates at all. They don't have practice. They're not very comfortable. A lot of them are really green behind the ears to begin with. I think it's pretty green to start the race. I think it's green throughout, and that doesn't help Tyler Hill. That doesn't help some of these punts. It absolutely helps Kyle Busch to an extent. He could use a caution. Mm-hmm. We're not getting a competition caution, right?
No, I don't think they're. Which
they could announce it at any time.
Go figure. The series that needs a competition caution isn't getting it.
Yeah, well, I guess we disagree on Tyler Hill. You've convinced me a little bit, so I'm going to move him up. I don't see the crazy. I think this thing gets pretty spread out at the end of the race. Last year's, I believe both races last year went green towards the end. There's plenty of room on this track. It's wide enough. I don't believe that we're going to see any mayhem. Again, someone has a failure. You never know. So we went 40 laps to the end last year. That's not good. Tyler Hill hung on, though. And then 50 laps, 40 laps again. It's pretty green. All right.
Let's see. What else do we have? Do we have any equipment? I guess then after this, you could talk about the guys that you're kind of looking at. But do you have any equipment concerns with David Gilliland, Deegan Gray? I have no issues there. I would trust these cars.
I don't have much expectation, though, for David Gilliland. Haley Deegan should be fine. Her truck should be fine. Who was the other one?
Tanner Gray.
Tanner Gray should be fine. Phil wrote up Tanner Gray, and if you look close, Phil is right that he got a top 15 in every intermediate track race last year. I think you could point at a couple and say, well, technically, I think Tanner Gray finished 29th at Darlington. But for the most part, Tanner Gray was pretty consistent. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of – it did show some upside at Kansas, Michigan, and then at Las Vegas. So that's there. That's good. That's exciting. And if you watch that Las Vegas race again, he looked really good in the last Las Vegas race. The setup was good. He made some good moves. He got in the clean air. He held his position. Decent on restarts. I think if I can get to Tanner Gray, I would like to.
I think – who did he wreck at Kansas? I think that was late in the race. at that one too. But I think he had a top 10 car in that race as well later in the year, or Kentucky, whatever one was later in the year.
I'm not worried about David Gilliland equipment at all.
Mm-mm.
And Tanner Gray seems like a really good play. Haley Deegan seems like a safe play. I don't know. Do you think she'll be in the optimal lineup?
I think she is. If I had to put anyone being optimal, I think it's Deegan for sure. And then I think if Deegan's optimal, and depending if it's Kyle Busch, Austin Hill, Smith type of way, I think that's why I see Brett Holmes being such a good play as well. I think they can both be optimal at their price with who they allow you to get into your lineups.
Yeah, well, they can be, but will they be?
I think so, but that's what I'm seeing.
So I guess that brings us to, and I talked about this. I think this is the place where, let me sort this, where we should focus some time. So everyone knows that people are all over Kyle Busch, Austin Hill, Zane Smith. We don't really need to talk about that, do we?
No, we don't. I don't think we need to.
If you're going the Kyle Busch route, that's fine to me. Now, I think you're a little more against it. I'm completely on board with that. I'm also completely on board if you want to fade Kyle Busch and you go the Austin Hill, Zane Smith route. I'm completely fine with that. I'm probably more team Kyle Busch. I don't even know if you're more Hill Smith. You might be Hill Kligerman, or actually Smith Kligerman.
Let me see who I have more ownership to with those guys. I'm slightly more Austin Hill Kligerman. That's where I'm at.
All right, so then the next thing that we can piece in if we're kind of constructing the lineups here is Creed and Nemechek. They need to have a spot. So let's talk about Creed and Nemechek, and then I want to talk about this kind of range between Chandler Smith and probably Haley Deegan. You want to go lower than that? That's fine.
Yeah, we could throw Roper in there, but yeah.
That's a pretty important section. Let's start with Creed and Nemechek. So question one, do they work in both of your – does it work in both builds, do you think? The Kyle Busch build and in the Zane Smith build?
Yes. Obviously, I don't think both of them would work together in a lineup, but I think if you're playing Sheldon Creed, I think he can work easily with a Kyle Busch type of lineup. Or if you're not playing Kyle Busch and you're stacking Hill and Smith or something like that, that'll work. Same thing with John Hunter Nemechek. Yeah. I would throw Eckes in that as well, but he's not in the price range.
So you said something interesting. You were really quick to say, well, they can't both work together. That usually is a red flag to me. When we're quick to say, well, that can never work. So let's double back to that. Can we build a Sheldon Creed, John Hunter Nemechek lineup? I guess the first thing is, can it work? Can they both stay up front, get fast laps led during stage 1 and stage 2, while Kyle Busch is taking pit stops, working on his truck? I think that's possible.
It is possible, but I think the salary constraints that you lose playing both of those guys, I would much rather have the floor of the guys ahead of them.
All right, so
we could try. We can look at it, but I think the potential you give up in a lineup by losing that place differential that the guys above him have, I think that's why I'm saying I don't think they could both work.
All right, so if I can get Creed and Nemechek and get Zane Smith, if I can fit those three, is that good enough?
No.
You don't think so? Well, let's look.
I think it's good enough to cash. I don't think it's good enough to win. I think you could hit the cash line. Like with me, this is kind of going back to my Kyle Busch lineups. Any lineup I have with Kyle Busch is I don't have one that's within 2 points of my highest projected lineups without Kyle Busch. So in a situation to where you're playing Nemechek or Creed and you're playing two of those guys, I think you could score well. I think you're going to be, if everything goes well, I think you're going to be like 10 points under what the highest scoring lineup would be.
I agree. It's not the most probable outcome. But this is obviously what the third variation of a build that we're doing. And we're just doing this to separate from the Kyle Busch folks, separate from the Kligerman Creed or Kligerman Smith folks. So yeah, it's not highly likely, but is it possible that both of these guys are 6-7X? Can they, where's my mouse at? The computer freeze on me? Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Too many screens. So let's just look. Let's see. Creed, Nemechek. We'll put Zane Smith in there. That gives us $20,000 left. Let me have Haley Deegan, Chase Purdy, and I've got 7,100 left. Tanner Gray. You don't think that can score enough points? Well, so maybe Deegan might be the weakest link there, but Tanner Gray has got top 10 potential. Chase Purdy has top 10 potential. We've got $100 to play with. You want to go up? You want to go down the Ryan Truex, who'll be popular as well. That's fine. I think that's an interesting lineup that should be considered because everyone is doing the Kyle Busch thing. Everyone is trying to take two of these guys from the back. It's worth trying, is all I'm saying. Not likely, not probable, but it can happen if Kyle Busch is pitting early and these guys lead laps, get fast laps. Where do you expect them to finish the race?
Who?
Creed and Nemechek.
I think Creed will finish first or second. I think Nemechek finishes 7th.
I knew you were going to do that. Why? Why do you not trust John Hunter Nemechek in a Kyle Busch motorsports truck?
I trust him. I think he can be a fringe top 10. But if Creed shows up, if Kyle shows up, if Austin Hill, we both agree Austin
Hill is starting 7,500th.
It doesn't matter where you start; it matters where you finish. An hour and a half later after the green flag.
Do you think Austin Hill is a better driver than John Hunter Nemechek?
Yes. We've seen that before. What are you?
John Hunter Nemechek has won in the Truck Series. He's got more truck wins than Austin Hill. He's got more Xfinity wins than Austin Hill. And he did it in really not that great equipment. It's good. His dad's equipment was good. But you're not going to sit here and tell me that 8 truck is better than a Hattori truck. Are you? Are you going to try and tell me that
I think the Hattori truck is better than the lowest Kyle Busch truck? It's close.
John Hunter Nemechek should have won last week.
That's a road course.
but what we're saying is, skill-wise, does that not check a box?
Yes, it does. Okay.
Equipment-wise, does that check a box?
Yes, of course.
That was his first real race with the team, and it looked like he'd been there for a while, minus the guys not being able to calculate fuel mileage. All right, well, that's just going to be one we'll have to disagree on. But I'm much higher on John Hunter Nemechek. That doesn't mean I'm going to play a lot of him because of the constraints, but I really think you should consider this Creed Nemechek play.
What do you have Nemechek projected for?
I got him really low. I got him finishing second. That's not low. But I've got him with 10 hog points. I could see, this is a Las Vegas race where it could get spread out. If Kyle Busch runs away with it, it hurts him. But if Kyle Busch doesn't get up there till stage 3, he's going to get fast laps. He's going to get laps led points.
So I actually have John for 5 laps led and 10 fast laps at 45 points.
So our biggest difference is you just don't think he's going to finish.
I don't think he finishes as high. I think that's what it boils down to. It's I think that's why I was getting not annoyed, but I was like, look, I think he's both a good player. I just don't think he works in this situation.
What do you think his average running position is?
4th.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm on board with that. So he just doesn't quite get as good of a finish.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So we're
not saying he's horrible.
The finish too. But I could easily be wrong, right? He could run well and just not get the finish. He is John Hunter Nemechek. So let's dial that down.
What do you think? Right. What do you think Hill's running position is in stage 3? Austin Hill.
We looked at Kyle Busch starting in the back. I don't remember Austin Hill ever starting in the back, but he'll be in the top 5-10 by the beginning of stage 3, and he should stay up there. It shouldn't have a problem. But he'll need clean air too. He's not like a guy that necessarily, if you looked at last year, he just got the right restart, played the strategy right. He got into clean air. He did a great job, but he was not the best truck at Las Vegas last fall. Mm-hmm. He's got a couple wins here though. He's a good intermediate track driver, so don't sleep on Austin Hill. If I had to play him or Smith and Price wasn't a factor, it's easily Austin Hill. And it's pretty much easily Austin Hill right now anyway. Are you in the same boat?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so let's now go to these guys.
Your price range. Yes. I forgot what we were even doing before.
All right, so let's look at this crew here. And I'll let you rank them. I know it's a lot,
Let's see.
But you're capable of doing this. And this
so
I want people just rank them. Go ahead. And then we'll talk about that.
So as this, I would, sorry, I got a Discord message. I would rank probably in terms of who finishes better or
no, we're talking about point per dollar, just best play. So no easies here, right? You got to tell me.
I would do Haley.
Okay, hold on.
Tanner, Truex.
Is there a way that I can? I don't want to mess with the sheet there.
Just color them.
Add a color. I know, but I was kind of wanting to rank them.
Well, you can change the queue, then Control Z when we're done.
Yeah, but it's going to throw off other stuff in the sprint.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so Haley Teagan won. Go ahead. Really, the point of this for me is I just want to see who ends up on the end.
Okay. 2 would probably be Tanner Gray.
I don't disagree with either of those, and I think they are definitely going to be very popular and very chalky. Mm-hmm. So if you're playing it safe, I'm right with you on those. If you're going GBP, should we then say, all right, this ain't going to work? All right, keep moving. I just want to plant that seed. Keep ranking.
It's going to be 3 would be Truex.
And I'm not – Gillen's in here. I'm not really on him. Yep, I'm right there. Some people have them different. I heard one person has Truex really high and Deegan really low. That is a very popular person who pushes a lot of fantasy information. So that's something to think about. I have heard that – this guy says Truex is going to be really popular and Deegan will be really low. I can't believe that. I think the opposite, like you.
Yeah.
I think Truex will be popular, but Deegan really low. All right, keep going.
All right, let's see.
A little experiment here for the folks.
4th would be Chase Purdy.
Yeah, I'm with you. And we're not doing Timothy Peters either. Ignore Peters.
No. Well, he doesn't like Timothy Peters either.
He liked Red Horse Timothy Peters, not Rackley War.
Not
all right.
Whatever this
I
is.
am 100% on the page with you so far. Now where we go.
Okay. 5th would be Jordan.
Yeah, you're right. I'm probably not playing him, though. Could be complete. I might end up with some, but he's not. He's almost in that Gilliland range for me.
I think Gilliland would be
terrible last year. He's an Xfinity racer. Kind of.
He's
supposed to be.
He should be.
Yeah, but he's not even. Yeah. So I mean, my point is like he's not really. He's racing the truck because he's got no other ride. All right. Next.
Next one would be David.
Not counting these guys. Just ignore the
you're not.
So it's either Cross or Smith.
Geez, that's Chandler. I would believe in Chandler more than Kraus.
Okay, and then next, Kraus. All right. So, well, what do you mean you don't believe in Kraus? You don't believe in his talent, or you just don't think he can work?
I don't think the play would work. So I actually have. Let me see. Where's David at? I thought I had more. I have one lineup with David Gilliland.
That's fine.
Actually, so, I thought I had more than him. I think I had more than him earlier, and I took him out of some.
So that is definitely kind of the popular cash play approach. And I think that people are building with Kyle Busch are going to go in that same order. If they can squeeze 1 or 2 of these guys in, people that are going the Austin Hill Zane Smith route are going to go in that same order. Even though, like we said, I don't believe, I'm pretty sure that Deegan's going to be popular. Truex is going to be popular. And Tanner Gray, these 3 are going to be through the roof. Well, I mean, not through the roof, but they're going to be the guys in that section. Then Purdy and Anderson a little back, and then Smith and Kraus the very least. Okay, so that's chalk. Anything else you want to add about those?
I don't. I think they're all good plays like by themselves, and then I tend to see optimizers kind of just go and do them because that's the price range that you kind of have to go to when you're paying up for Kyle Busch, which kind of just goes back to me of I guess why I'm not playing as much Kyle Busch because I want to specifically get off of these guys. Not Haley as much, but I don't want to be trapped with Truex or Gray.
But I would much rather end up in this area than down here.
I think you end up in both. I think.
Well, I mean, that is true, right? But I'm just saying, like you're going to end up picking 1 from here, and you're going to pick 1 from here. I feel better picking the one from here than I do the one from here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is just going to be random. I mean, do you feel like you have any control over these guys at the bottom?
No.
Let me be honest.
I don't.
Austin Wayne Self, he's a decent race car driver, but he's starting 12th. He needs a lot of breaks. Carson Hocevar, he was great in a late model, whatever. He does have a GM, he has but we don't know about these niche trucks anyway. Like, he's going to need a lot of help. Jesse Awushi's going to need, a total eclipse to get to where we need him to go. These guys. Go ahead.
I'll say this real quick. So I always project Awushi like only gaining like 6 or 7 spots. And no matter how poorly I project, I'm always off because he always does better than however I project.
Well, let's look at that. So
I don't want to write off Awushi. And because these are 40-car fields that he finished where he did in these races.
Let's look at those races. Charlotte, the moving chicane, he finished 39th. Pocono, Wreckfest, there are plenty of wrecks. 28. If it's a Wreckfest, great. But again, that's why I said you need a total eclipse here. Some godlike event. 22nd, Michigan was a mess.
It was Wreckfest.
We go back to Las Vegas, normal race, 31st. No on Awushi. All right. Now, what I want to do is go back up here. So we know who the chalk's going to be. And if we want to differentiate and we want to get cute, why don't we just reverse it? What's your thoughts on reversing?
I think that's going to be a great indication of ownership because not only, like, for example, with Chandler Smith or Kraus, or I'm going to throw Gilliland into that as well. If I'm not getting to them right off the bat, I should see them being sub 10, maybe under 15% for someone like Smith or Kraus or Gilliland. Yeah.
Might be lower than that. It's not easy to get Smith in. And I don't believe these are good cars or trucks. Sorry. We're terrible at that. We're never going to get that right.
Never get that right at all.
They are talented drivers with good teams. They are capable of top 10s, if not top 5s. Probably Smith more of a top 5 than Kraus, but Kraus doesn't need the top 5. The only thing that we don't like is they're starting too close to the front. If we took away that starting position, actually, even if you had Chandler Smith at 7th for $7,300, think about it. Chandler Smith, Kyle Busch, $7,300 at Las Vegas last year. Wouldn't you have jammed him in?
But we don't have the we didn't have the security that you're paying up for.
And I know. I get that.
Yeah, it's hard to answer.
I'm saying this is Las Vegas last year. We don't have this ridiculous starting. I'm just trying to build a case for if you could get Chandler Smith at $7,300, regardless of the starting position. I'm thinking of Gateway in 2019. You would do it. If you can get Derek Kraus under $7,000, you're going to do it. The only reason we don't like them, and it's obvious, like you said, is that because we like these other guys so much, because everyone likes these guys so much. So, like, a lot of times we're getting real cute with, these punt plays, but it's really not that cute. They're talented. They're good drivers with good teams, and they can work in an Austin Hill Zane Smith lineup. They can squeeze into a Kyle Busch lineup. Really, it's all these guys can work, can't they?
Yes, yeah. All of them can work.
So what the comparison is then is Chandler Smith versus Haley Deegan. Is there even a comparison? Derek Kraus versus Haley Deegan. There's not a comparison. Derek Kraus is at least 10 spots better than her.
Really? Not 10. Like, okay, so Kraus can finish 10th. Deegan can finish 17th.
Derek Kraus has earned top 10s. Haley Deegan has one 16th place race? What are we doing here, man? She's got one 16th place finish. She's got one oval race. Derek Kraus is a multiple-time champion in the ARCA series, ran full-time last year, almost made the playoffs. How many top 10s do they have? Oh, I don't know. Close to Super. 4 out of
top
5.
10s.
What are we doing?
Let's see.
But that's okay because the field, it's not necessarily like it's just we're not thinking straight because we're not thinking straight because she's starting in the back, and that's clouding our judgment. and it's clouding everyone's judgment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really trying to make a hard case for people trying to get off the chalk and saying, hey, maybe I go with Smith. I'm not saying go 100% Smith. I'm not even saying go 50% Smith. I'm just saying, hey, you want to switch it around, give it a try.
All these plays are great. Like, say if you're a type of 10, 15, 20 lineup guy, I would try and have a lineup with one of these guys. Is that incorrect?
No, I would go higher than that. I would say if you had 10 lineups, combination of one or the other, I would say at least 3, maybe 4 of the lineups have at least Smith or Krause in it. I'm crazy. I'm being aggressive, but I think the ownership on these guys is going to be really high. Now, if they work and they have an awesome race, then guess what? Yeah, you lose. But you got 6 other lineups to deal with DeGray and Deegan. So,
okay, so if this is the case, then if you're in this area, sell me on why I shouldn't be on David Gilliland.
I think he's just racing just to get points so that he can keep on running the third truck. Right? And once he gets that third truck pointed in safely, he's going to start selling that truck. He just needs to build some points. I mean, how many times did he run 3 trucks last year? Not very often. But now with the way NASCAR's setting the grid, he can lock that third truck in and be pretty safe and make some easy cash. Or possibly sell those points, which we're now seeing with the 23 team, which is going to be the next scam, is selling your points.
Right. I am on board with that idea. The only thing pushing me not towards that is we're seeing him run ARCA races now to just show up and win. Like, David Gilliland doesn't strike me as somebody who is showing up to just not win. Like,
you think David Gilliland was going for the win?
We're not going for a win, but I think he's racing to finish well.
I completely disagree. I believe he's out there just because he needs to get some points so that he can now have a 3-truck operation. Well, I can't back that up. But you can't.
No, yeah. I mean, I can't back my thing up either. Yeah, I got you.
I have no evidence. Like, I'm not connected to David Gilliland Crosley Racing. So that's just my hunch. So I could be wrong there. Like, I probably shouldn't talk anymore about that because people are like, all right, go play Gilliland. So that's not sound advice. I'm sorry.
All right. Who else? Let's see. We got another 10 minutes here. A lot of people are talking about Connor Daly. What do you think about this here?
I'd say he's fine in cash, but the problem is you pay for him. You really limit getting to those top tier guys, don't you?
So with my build and how I was going, I would have an average somewhere between 6,700 to 6,900 after I got my 3 guys that I wanted in every lineup. And so I'm not playing a lot of Connor. I have him in one lineup, but getting to him wasn't an issue for me at all. Like, he was always there in okay, you got 7,800 left for 2 drivers or whatever, or not 2 drivers, but for your last driver, pick who you need to go to. And so I was always able to afford Connor Daly. I'm afraid that people see the same thing and play him just because they see him starting so far back and they can't afford him. But maybe that's just how my lineups were going.
Let me talk about Connor Daly in terms of one of the questions about playing Deegan is smart. Playing Deegan is smart, but it's more safe than it is smart. And playing safe, probably not going to win the GPP. You've got to take some risks. People are being really safe, aren't they? You can be really safe with Connor Daly. I think it's too safe. He would really need to have an awesome race. He might be a little bit more aggressive in this one, but he didn't look, again. Actually, what do you think of the Nice trucks?
I think they're all, 12th place equipment, like across the board. But the talent that the drivers have do not bring it in. Like Truex, we've seen him have a top 15 car, but we've also seen him run pretty poorly. Brett Moffitt, I think where that truck is 9th, 8th place. He can carry that with his skill up to 4th or 3rd. But yeah. I think they're fringe top 10 cars across the board in equipment.
I'm probably a little bit lower on you, but I agree. It's Moffitt can get more out of it. Truex could, but Truex could also have a poor race. We've seen that plenty of times. It's not always his fault, but it is. When you get into wrecks or put yourself in bad places, then it's kind of your thing. We should know by now that IndyCar drivers can't just jump in a stock car. It just doesn't work that way. And stock car drivers can't just jump into an IndyCar. It doesn't work that way. He's a good race car driver. He's not necessarily a good stock car driver. He doesn't have any practice. He's going to be out there the first two stages, kind of just maintaining.
Mhm.
He's too expensive. I think we got a Lassard question.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. So I have ownership to Lassard, 2 out of 14. I think he's a good pivot in terms of what he is in pricing. And I guess I didn't even realize that he was right above Chandler Smith. I guess we could have thrown him into that conversation as well.
Yeah, definitely. So
yeah, so the two guys that I would probably pivot to if I wanted to try and get low ownership would be Lassard and Gillen. That's where I'm at. And I know you're more on Kraus and Smith.
Because I'm not playing a lot of these guys, but I just get this tingling feeling that you're going to have to do something different, and that Hailie Deegan is not going to set the world on fire. Everyone is expecting, oh, well, I just don't see her automatically getting a top 20. I don't see Truex automatically getting a top 15. And for whatever reason, I could miss. Yeah, Lassard is probably safer. He is safer. But again, this is his first oval here with GMS. Hasn't worked with this team very much. That worries me. Look, you look at last year. He ran well at the end of the season, but look how long it took him to get adjusted to Kyle Busch Motorsports. A long time. Why do we think that he's all of a sudden going to be rip-roaring for GMS? And if we look at the first two races of the season, it really wasn't the case. He should have run better at the Daytona Road Course. I don't know if he got in a wreck. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that really wasn't a great performance by him. So he's fine, but I guess I'm kind of putting myself in with. I think we got another response with Hailie Deegan.
I'll try and find that while I talk about Lassard. I want to
safe. She's probably the right play. I'm probably overthinking. This is probably my Derek Cope moment.
It can never be that bad.
No, well, no, that Derek Cope play wasn't really that bad. It's a freaking Daytona plate race. Now, your Reddick take, that might have been bad.
Oh, hey, you got to take stances. Let me talk about Lassard.
Yeah, so this is probably comparable to your Tyler Reddick take. My saying, but I'm not 100%. I really think people should try to explore this. And anyway, all right, that's enough Smith Kraus talk. People are probably talking about it. So I apologize.
Lassard was always a play that I went to last year. I'm not playing him because I always played him last year, but his ownership last year was never reflective of what that car could do, and him working his way into top 10s in that type of car should be expected. Since he's in a GMS car, I would argue that a top 10 is expected out of this equipment. If you look at his pricing in this year compared to last year, he was normally in the 8s last year. He's 7.4 in this race. He also has that Camping World on the car. This is a situation where I think the Camping World situation plays into him because he should be expected to get a top 10. So GMS should expect him to get that bonus from the Camping World sponsorship. So I would just default him to get a 10th place car. And if that's the case, I don't know why he wouldn't run to try and get a top 5.
Yeah. He's fine, but we've had I can't add anything to that. I can't prove you wrong or add any more. Go to the 8. There it is.
Yeah, that is not
an 8%.
I have no idea what. Yeah, that's.
I mean, that was what I was talking about earlier. For whatever reason, the rumor is that she's not. Everyone here is talking about Deegan, and I'm trying to talk people off of Deegan.
Right, I'm doing the same thing. I can't get off of her in these lineups.
She can't get off of her, huh?
Honestly, she should be. If take out Kyle Busch, the guys in the back replace differential. Deegan should be the highest owned driver.
Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe if she is, so there's someone saying 30. If she's only 8%, then yeah, I'm crazy. Don't listen to me. You should play her. I just don't. But also, I think if Abnormally would post this, the person who has been saying these percentages has been wrong every time this year. And we've been on here every time saying that's wrong. Like every race, like, yep, that percentage is wrong. And then they roll it out. And of course they're wrong. But I don't know. Now I'm starting to feel like, oh, maybe I am.
I mean, if that's, I'm going to be happy.
I'm still going to have some Kraus Smith. Maybe I dial it down a lineup or two and a little bit more Deegan. I don't know. 8%? It's just no way that's right.
Yeah,
let's run off the optimizer. All right, let's lock. So Kyle Busch is in on this lineup.
Okay.
It took Deegan, it took Smith, it took Truex, it took Purdy. Let's force it to. Here's the one that I want to do first. I want to lock in Nemechek and Creed. You're completely. I don't know. Are you completely against this lineup?
I would not play it, but I am curious to see what it's going to look like.
Okay.
With your stuff.
You're not high on it. If you had 10 lineups, would you do one of these?
I have over 10, and I don't have Nemechek.
Yeah, no. All right. So, yeah, I am definitely trying to be way too crazy today. So I've got to dial it down, be calm, say, all right, I'm still going to play one of these lineups. Because you're going to get one of the top-tier guys in it, too. You can't get Kyle Busch, obviously, but actually you could.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. That would be interesting. So, I mean, if that
we're going to force you to do that next. All right. And if anyone has any requests out there of who we're going to lock into lineups just to see what it does, even though you can run the optimizer on your own, but maybe you can't because you didn't get the optimizer added or whatever. But this is always fun to do and just to let the computer algorithm do it. All right. Creed, Nemechek, Chandler Smith. Now, if you don't like Smith, you got plenty of money to go down. Okay. Smith's going to pop up a lot because I've got him projected high. If you want to go down, there's just a reminder. You don't like that Smith play? There's a bunch down here. All right. So then we've got Ryan Truex. We've got Haley Deegan. You got Zane Smith.
I mean, I like that. That's
not bad. It's not bad. All right. Let's try to force it to take Kyle Busch. This could get really ugly.
That will get ugly. I want to bring up while this runs. Luke brought up the fact that he thinks that Kyle will be around 75% owned. I think Kyle, I don't know, 60, 65. My only thing is because I was looking at all the writings across the board, all the videos and stuff, and everybody is saying right off the bat, you got to fit Kyle Busch into a lineup. And I mean, that's where I was at the start of the week. I've already said that I'm kind of lower on Kyle Busch in terms of his fast laps and stuff. So if that's the case, maybe the play really is to get off of Kyle and just build the best lineups you can, excluding Kyle from your player pool. I would honestly rather take that than trying to get in like a Chase Purdy or a Chandler Smith or a Kraus.
I don't support a full Kyle Busch fade, but I do agree that maybe if you want to go a little less on Kyle Busch because you think that he's going to pit a lot and he doesn't do anything in stage 1 and stage 2, still gets a place differential at the end. So it's going to be very scary. It's not that hard for him to be optimal. But even if he has a really good race where he pits, he can still get knocked out by, we talked about this already. I'm rehashing it. Smith and Hill have a good day. Well, sorry, Kyle Busch didn't work out for it. So we got Creed, we got Nemechek. Now we got Hosever. Going to that dirt cheap play. I'm not going to feel comfortable with that.
No.
Truex, Kyle Busch.
I told you, man. It forces
that one's scary.
That one's ugly.
So you're not going to do that one.
No.
If you got 100 lineups, then yeah, you might have the. Now watch this one hit.
Right.
All right. What do we lock in next? Any requests? You want to lock in the big dogs?
Any requests? Do you want to lock in a Wuji just to see what it does with everything open?
Yeah. All right. So like this, which is we're just doing this. We did this last week, right? With somebody at the bottom just to see like, all right, what's the maximum potential lineup you can get with a Wuji?
Let's see. Holmes. I honestly think Holmes should be 50 to 60. Personally, I think he should be that high. I already know I'm way higher. I'm nearly 50%, or I'm nearly 100% on Brett. That's just where I am. But
I'm not completely. So I was with you early in the week. We talked about this earlier. Skill, it's there. The equipment, we believe, is going to check out. I think everyone's saying it's actually a GMS truck. They can verify that. So Crew Chief has decent experience, won a race with Bubba Wallace, did Austin Dillon races, did some part-time work for Matthew Miller, MDM trucks in the past. My issue is just two things. Experience, which this is not necessarily the worst thing, but it's just relative to the field. I have some concerns. I think he can be good, but so can these other guys. All right, who we end up with? We lock him in. Purdy, Gray, Truex. So there's your kind of triple tier of the value. Busch and Smith. That's not the one. That's not one. Like you got three. It's got to be a wreck fest.
Yeah, it's got to be a wreck fest.
I don't like that build at all. I don't know what it's doing that.
However, I guess that would be a situation where Creed doesn't work.
Well, you need Creed not to work. Like, that's just insane, though. There's a lot of things that happen. You got 3 values and a punt. We're going to repeat that. 3 value and a punt. Let's lock in Hill and Smith and see. This is where, if we'll do your Kligerman first or next, but this is kind of your route.
Mm-hmm.
Is the guy complaining still that I'm talking too much?
No.
I apologize, man.
No, don't apologize. I can't stop laughing.
I didn't stop
at that type of stuff. Oh, man.
All right. This is probably the safest way, but if the Kyle Busch ownership is over, like, I mean, if Kyle Busch ownership is at 75%, then yeah, go this route. Connor Daly, so there's why that fit in. I don't like that. Who else we get? Tanner Gray and Chandler Smith.
Yeah, so that Chandler Smith play is actually interesting because
let's increase Creed to 20. That's not a winning lineup, is it? Yeah, Chandler Smith, no. You don't need to go there. You got Gray, you got Deegan. Mm-hmm. I like those two. I don't understand. I mean, I guess Daly's not a terrible play. He's ranking 8th in terms of point, and that's pretty safe. I think that's safe. It's probably not terrible in cash. I don't think that scores enough in optimal. All right, so I've boosted up Sheldon Creed because I want to see if it's going to squeeze in Creed.
I bet it will.
Where I was starting earlier was Creed was going to be with Kyle Busch or Creed was going to be with these guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are the type of runs that I did last night and earlier today to see where stuff would go through. I think that's why I was saying, like, oh, people are going to go to Connor Daly just because we kind of saw how the optimizer went to that type of stuff. So if you have his sheet and you mess around with the optimizer, or if you use his MME tool, it'll kind of point you in directions to see where chalk is, to see where most people are going to go, or most people would go with that type of build on the lineup. That's why I like to mess around with this type of stuff and see.
Creed, Gillen, I don't like Host over here, but you can go down at Smith and probably, like, if you went down to Deegan, you might be able to get him up to somebody you like. And then you already got Deegan, say Truex, Austin Hill, Zane Smith. So that's kind of what I really like that. I think that would also be really chalky, getting Creed with Hill and Smith. And I think abnormally distributed brings up a good point that we can't completely fade fast laps. We can't completely fade laps led. It could work, but you're probably going to need Creed or somebody, aren't you? Maybe you answer that. Can we just completely fade basically stage 1, stage 2 laps led, fast laps?
I think you can. And I think because – so that's kind of the direction that I'm going. Like I said, if you're just joining, I have both ownership to Kyle Busch, Creed lineups, and then lineups without Creed and without Kyle. But I think the place differential, specifically in the back of the field, people like Austin Hill, people like Zane Smith, Kyle Busch, I think they can actually steal fast laps, especially if the race kind of goes green in the middle of the stages where they're not having to deal with so much dirty air as like a pack. Yeah. Maybe cars are spread out. That's when I could see Kyle Busch, Austin Hill, Zane Smith, which I have projected. I have, the people who I expect to get fast laps and laps led are the same people I expect to get a lot of place differential. Very similar to tomorrow's situation as well, to where I don't think that you necessarily have to go to Creed if you're looking for fast laps or laps led.
I don't believe that Austin Hill can run fast laps in traffic we know for a fact he didn't do it last year. Same thing with Zane Smith. They didn't run fast laps. Now, Kyle Busch could possibly poach some fast laps. But if you're taking Sheldon Creed and Kyle Busch, it doesn't hurt you. Mm-hmm. If you're taking Kyle Busch, Austin Hill, and Sheldon Creed, it doesn't hurt you. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I mean, the guys that could hurt Creed are not in the build anyway. The guys that hurt Creed are Kraft and these other guys starting up front. Mm-hmm. Nemechek is kryptonite to Creed. Creed is kryptonite to John Hunter Nemechek.
Do you have – I know we're getting kind of late here. One guy, let's talk about – what is your opinion on Christian Eckes? Because I have him as a guy that I think it's a slim chance that he leads laps. However, I think if Eckes gets to the lead, he should dominate up until the people in the back get up there. Like if Eckes shows up, he should show up in the first stage and probably even the second stage. Like he'll compete for the win if he's going to show up.
I don't think Eckes has a chance.
I don't think. I mean,
I don't think he'll do
slim chance
anything.
for that.
He had the best truck last year. He had practice in the first Las Vegas. I mean, how many races did he just do nothing? He had the best crew chief, wizard crew chief, and now he's got to jump into a Thor Sport ride, which is like basically part-timing its way through the season, and these brand new Toyotas add an intermediate track. Oh, by the way, this intermediate track is the same track where they failed in the fall race the last 2 seasons with engine problems. I mean, I couldn't think of any more problems. Eckes is not good. He doesn't have enough experience. The truck's not that great. The truck's brand new. I could just go through a million reasons why I just do not believe in Eckes at all.
I agree. I just wanted your opinion on that. I think that's about where we've covered everything.
We didn't talk about some of these guys, but they're just not in the pool, or at least my pool. I don't think my pool is that much different than yours, is it? You can see basically up here, guys, where my crew. We'll lock in Kligerman and we'll close it out. Let's lock in Kligerman.
Right. Last one. Let's see how wrong I am in terms of Ben Rhodes. I'm not touching him at all. Oops, didn't hit that.
Yeah, I'm not on Ben Rhodes. He won a plate race and then a plate race road course race. My Kligerman projection's low, so just deal with that. But that doesn't matter. We don't really care about the points right here. We just want to see who we can get with Kligerman. If I had to guess, we'll probably end up with. I think it's going to Jamin Kyle Busch.
I don't think
Kyle Busch, Sheldon Creed.
I don't think so. Let me try and think who it puts in here. I think it'll be Hill and Smith actually. Okay, Hill and Smith, or we're gonna have Diggin for sure. I think it skips Kyle. Let's see.
Chandler Smith, Carson. Again, guys, you can go down at Chandler Smith if you're scared of that one. And I don't disagree with that. I've got him projected pretty high. Hocevar, do this. So if you go down with Chandler Smith, you can bump that Hocevar play up to a better play. Truex, Busch. So, look, on your projection, absolutely will. I got a high projection on Kyle Busch. So in yours, it's going to go, let's do yours. Let's exclude Kyle Busch. One last time. I thought we were
one more. One special one for you guys. Then we'll call it a day because this is the longest we've ever gone on. So thank you guys for watching.
It's not easy, folks. Sorry, trying to do my best here.
You're good. Remember, tomorrow, what is it tomorrow? I just went blank. What time is it tomorrow?
Daddy, sit down, Daddy. Look at it. Daddy, look at them.
He's like, get off. Tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern time, we'll be doing the same thing.
Child service is going to call on the I apologize, guys. I'm sorry that this is probably not the best broadcast you've ever seen. It's not his fault. It's my fault. So, all right. So Kligerman, Zane Smith, Haley Deegan, Ryan Trick. So far, that's pretty cool. Sheldon Creed, who's else? Chase Purdy. That's a pretty good lineup. That's a good one to close.
That's not bad at all, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, I'll see you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern time. And thank you guys for watching.